Okay, back to what I was saying, part 2. So we look at all of the obstacles and the challenges that are placed in our life as deterrents. They're not meant to deter you from getting to where you want to be. They're meant to make you who you are meant to become to get to where you need to go, okay? And a lot of the time, where you think you need to go is not where you need to go. So that's why the obstacles, the challenges are put into your life, because you're not ready for this position yet. You're not ready for this, to take on this role in your life right now. Like, you have to be ready. However, if you're not ready, you're still going to get tried. Like, if you cannot stay in your comfort zone, what I've learned in life is that when I am complacent, when I am content, when I am like, yes, my life is fine right now, okay? That is when the shiza hits the fan. That's when the universe says, okay, you think you can be comfortable here? I've given you enough time. You're not pushing yourself the way you need to become who you need to. So guess what? Here you go. And then you get a new challenge, a new something, that's placed in your life. And sometimes that's a huge challenge, and other times it's a small thing. But those challenges, those obstacles, those roadblocks, whatever you want to call them, they're there to make you who you need to become, so you can leave this world a better place. And if you aren't becoming who you need to become, then guess what? You can say goodbye to where you think you want to go, because you won't get there. It all starts with you. It starts with me. It starts with each one of us individually. And so that's what this book is about becoming. And like I said, I wanted to come out to 7 different books. And what I meant to say about the sins is we look at these sins as things to stay away from. And I don't think we need to stay away from sin 100%. We kind of need to flirt with it a little. But then we need to realize, okay, this is what this does for me. How can I keep that fire burning? Or how can I, use it for, again, use it to serve me before it consumes me. Okay, there's a really fine line there. And I am more than happy to dance with the devil sometimes, and I'm completely aware of it. And sometimes that's what feeds the fire. And I think a lot of people, because they're so no to anything bad versus seeing how it can be good for you. Yeah, it's my journey. I'm bringing y'all along for the ride. There's, again, I have ADHD. My memoir showcases this perfectly, and how my brain works and how other people with a similar ADHD's brain maybe works. It's not linear. It's all over the place. But out of chaos, beauty is born. Birth is made. A baby is born. A book has life. I'm breathing life into the book from my life. And I think it'll be something no one sees coming, because I am the most unassuming person anybody sees coming. And somebody messaged me the other day saying, wow, you're really sharing a lot. And I was like, well, yeah, because it's about time. It's about time. And the funny thing is, when it's time. Like, you just know, you just have this feeling that it's just time for your voice to be heard. Like, you've been in your head long enough. Because I've never been the one that's had to be the center of attention. I haven't always had to be heard. Sometimes, actually, I prefer not to be seen and heard all the time. I can always be seen and heard, and I can always be the center of any party, right? I can be the person who is the center of attention at a party, or I can be the one that lets somebody else take the reins. Because when you're second, no one's looking at you. Like Gary Vee has said, when you're the second, that's why you can be a little more wild, because everyone's looking at that first child versus the second. The second can get away with some stuff. And my theory on that is, I had my first, and I feel like with your first child, because it's your first baby, you're way too much, right? You want to do everything perfectly. You go over the top. You childproof everything. You don't let the baby cry for longer than a second, right? Then with your second one, you're like, oh, my first one survived. I don't have to be that whatever. So then you kind of go in the opposite direction, right? You do too little. Then by your third child, you find that perfect balance. Like, okay, well, this was too much. I should have held my boundaries here. So with the third, let me try this. So you kind of like learn your parenting. So that's why I always say you have to have 3 of everything. That's why there's the center of 3. Because the first one is your first one. So you're trying it out. You haven't quite learned it. Your second one, you think you know what you're doing. So you're like, I know what I'm doing. I can back off. I can work out twice a week versus 5 days a week. And then you're like, oh, wait, no, maybe I should work out 3 days a week. Okay, so you always have to find your happy medium, and you can't just learn it with your first one. You have to try something else, right? Find that balance, and then you find, okay, this is my happy medium. So my book goes through all of those for me in my life. I've always done that. Gone too far. Wait, but this didn't make me happy, even though I was perfect. So let me come back here. Oh, wait, I don't like myself not trying. I don't like myself being lazy. So let me find a happy medium, right? So perfectionism would kill me. I'd have OCD, and I would be like, cry at night if I wasn't perfect that day. Well, that's terrible, right? So instead, I choose to not be perfect, to try not to be perfect, but don't just let everything go either, right? Because then that's not a happy life. So you gotta find your happy medium. And my book is so me. And because I was raised really reserved, I was raised Mormon, okay? There's a lot of things in this book that my Mormon friends are gonna be like, in my special way, okay? So that's fine. Just my book is a little bit of everything, from philosophy, my philosophy on life and how I lived it, and how it's not ever changed despite the circumstances. Because who you are is how you act, right? It determines how you act, who you have become, what characteristics you've chosen to take on, chosen to work on, and get better at, determines what you do, what kind of behavior you have, what kind of behaviors you'll accept, So I have become who I have become. However, I have always been who I have always been, yet I have always evolved. And I think coming to terms with being okay with who I am, and finally finding a partner who is okay with everything that I am, and they don't expect anything more. We always hope for more in the other person, for more of him, but he loves me just the way that I am, gives me the confidence to speak and tell my story. Where if I never felt safe, I don't know if I would feel comfortable sharing it, right? I'd be more fearful of judgment. But my story's my story. People are going to judge it whether I tell it or not, because we are our own story. So how I behave every day is because of my story, the one I choose to tell myself, the one I choose to live every day. It's all about who you are. That's it. Nothing, no circumstances outside matter or can take away from who you are. It can only make you better. You know, but you have to be willing and open to that. So this has been 10 minutes. Wow, that's like almost a 20-minute video between my part 1 and part 2. I didn't even go into everything I need. I just need to get back to my directions. I was on a good streak for a minute. And as we all know, I am still working full-time. I'm in outside sales, so I have to go to sales calls all the time, right? And if I'm not, then I'm emailing and calling, or setting up my routes, or doing quotes. I love my job. It allows me to the creative space to write. When you're at a really stressful job, if you have no energy, by the time you get home, you might be at the wrong job. You need a job that still allows you to think. And so sometimes automated jobs are good for that. Like, automated jobs are great if you want to build a business on the side, or if you want to have side hustles and you just need a steady job paying the bills so you can work on your dream until that one pays your bills. So that's how normal life people do it. You know, you have to keep your job while you continue to work on your business. I had to do that, or rather I was my first business was I had a fitness business where I ran boot camps, corporate wellness programs, and I had a job, a steady job, while I, you know, worked into that. ADHD, my brain just goes, like, gone. It's gone. Sometimes it's non-stop, and then right now I'm trying to gather my thoughts. So, yeah, now I'm like, go ahead, focus. We're literally, y'all, you think I'm kidding? My daughter even tells me, Mom, because like something that, God, it feels so weird just saying I have ADHD still, even though it's obvious, right? Like, nobody's surprised. But forgot where I was going with that. Oh, yes. Okay. So, like, when I am thinking and I'm in my head, I can stare up into space for hours, okay? And if I am not conscious or aware of my facial expressions, then I look like a robot. My daughter said that herself, because I had to tell her. Kim was sitting at the table, and I was just staring in space, and I could tell I was not using any facial muscles, because I think with ADHD or anything where you zone out, you learn to kind of make your face look like you're not just staring into space, even though you are. So like that. I don't know what that looked like because I wasn't looking at the camera. But basically, I can sit like that all day and just think in my head and have some of the most vivid thoughts, you know? Just contemplating so many things. And if I'm not, again, usually I had to tell my daughter, that's what I had to tell her. I said, sorry if I look like I have no expressions right now or no emotion. I'm just in deep thought. I have a lot on my mind right now, like I'm thinking, processing something. She goes, yeah, I was going to ask you, you just like, kind of like, just look like a robot. And I was like, awesome. But we learn so we don't look weird how to mask it. Okay. So masking doesn't mean like, masking is not you being something that you're not. It's I'm doing this so, because to me I'm not weird. Okay, I'm not weird. I'm super weird to everybody else, but like to me, because I'm not weird. I just say that I'm weird because I can tell I'm different from other people. And so I'm like, oh, they probably think I'm really weird. But it's when you step into that weirdness that finally life makes sense, you know? And I am one of those, you guys, I was never able to pretend. I'm not an actress. I've always been exactly who I am today. And there was no playing it off. So it was like the harder I tried to play it off, the worse I got, the worse it seemed, the faker it seemed. And so it just was humiliating. So it's just better to be you and take on, like if you like somebody's characteristics, you're not copying them. If you take on that characteristics, it's just you liked that in somebody, and so you have taken that on now as a piece of you. But it doesn't make you a copycat, or it doesn't make you, it just, okay, this is way off tangent. All right, I'm gonna go, bye.